And we are on.
Woo. Made it.
Yes. Yes. This is our first attempt in 2020. No, we've done it before.
Yeah, I don't know if it's our first attempt.
All right, but here it is. This is the Panda podcast, episode 1. And starting on Vegan Day, World Vegan Day.
Boom.
Here it is. So why go vegan?
Yeah, what better day to do our launch our podcast? I don't even know what we're calling this actually. Maybe not a podcast, but launch our series of videos and happy World Vegan Day.
Yep, exactly. World Vegan Day. Didn't even know that was a thing until you said
I saw it.
That's the day that we were doing.
And then I knew it was coming up. And we thought, what better day than to share why we went vegan and quickly kind of talk that through with people, because I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there on what a vegan really is, because I know that we never knew what a vegan was before, and kind of how it led us, how we ended up right here being an advocate for the animals. So we want to just like talk that through, okay? So we're gonna walk it through and hopefully make this like fun, exciting, interactive, a place where you can drop your comments below, hit us up in our personal message. And we're really wanting to do this to bring you guys more value and to share what a real vegan family looks like and break all the stereotypes that may be out there concerning veganism, and that it really is a lifestyle that is for everyone. And I try very hard to stay away from the word diet because, well, I guess we use diet all the time, but it's really a lifestyle. It's not a diet, but though it's really surrounded by the food that we put into our mouth every single day, at least 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, okay. So, Pete, how do we, like, in your words, why are you vegan? Ooh, sauce.
I think. Well, I mean, why am I vegan? I think for me, I think I just didn't want to not be able to answer the question of, well, why do you eat animals? And if there's no good justification of why you're eating animals when you don't have to, that's a question that you just can't answer. And I never wanted to be put in the position of being able to not answer a question or feel good about my response. So, that's one of the main reasons on why I'm vegan.
For me, it was that I'm going to be real. Like, I thought vegans were always super weird, probably in a social group that I would never be a part of. And now, honestly, I feel so stupid saying that. But I'm being, this point is just to be completely transparent. Like, I thought it was a bunch of, P and I are athletes at heart. We've always been involved in sports, and then we were in the Navy, and we've always been in this kind of like conservative kind of, lifestyle or surroundings. And being a vegan kind of breaks everything about that. But I always picture vegans being, peace, love, hippie, doing weird stuff like that I would never want to be a part of. But as we started down this journey, I really focused on the term plant-based. And that was initially my mindset, was we're going to try to do this plant-based diet for 30 days. And it was right after watching What the Health. I swear we watched it a few times, and we were really engaging in a lot of documentaries. It wasn't just documentaries. We were engaging in TED Talks and different reads. We were reading How Not to Die and all these other, I don't even know if that was out actually, but we were engaging in a lot of different things that were leading us down this path. And finally, after watching What the Health, I was like, okay, 30 days, I'm going to hit up the grocery store and we're doing this. It's all or nothing. Like, it's our whole family. And we did. After that, our kids started calling themselves vegans. And they were like, Mom, they were telling me stories of at school of telling people that they were vegans. And I was like, oh, okay. And I realized that that's my kids were calling themselves vegans, and that I was staring away from that word because there is some negative or misconception about being a vegan, and I was scared to actually use it for myself because I felt like it put pressure of living to an expectation that I wasn't ready to commit to. But my kids were owning it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to own it. I'm going to be, you know what? I am a vegan because I had made the connection, or was making the connection with animals, and that's really what being a vegan to me is all about. Once you understand the connection with animals and our food, and that they're sentient beings and they have a desire to live just like us, it's like, oh dang, I'm never going to go back.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't go back once you start to question it and then realize that you can. And I think for me, I'm always the one to question things, even growing up, and like why, and being like why. Well, asking why certain things, and then but nobody asks why do we eat the way that we do, or what are we eating. And I think that they've done such a good job of hiding what we eat, and into making it seem just so normal, and it's just normalized, and it's all around us, and we're just not naturally born to eat, or to be unkind to these living things. And so when you find out that you can, and you can, you're not missing anything, you just feel really good. And so it's just been a journey. And I think the panda diet, going back to the panda diet, it's not really a diet. It's really a journey of figuring out what exactly food is, and just having to relearn everything that we've learned up until this point, until you start to question things.
Yeah, it's just, we kind of just follow in the footsteps of what our parents do and what their parents did and what society's doing as a whole, and you kind of just go down that. And same thing, like, I never questioned whether, there was times I can think of growing up where, eating chicken off a bone really started to bother me, or eating any type of meat off a bone, whether it was steak or chicken or pork chops. I always found that really weird, but never really went explore beyond that. And I feel that there's so many times where people come up to us, or they make comments, and they're like, oh man, like, that's cool that you're vegans, but I can never do that. Or that's great that it works for you, but that's not something for me. And I get that, because we all say that. Pete and I, we ate meat most of our lives right now. We're at that point, and there's going to be a point where we're going to be able to say that we have been vegans most of our lives, but that's going to be well down the road. And so we have ate meat just like all of you. We have really traditional lifestyles, and, we're really breaking that mold. And the cool thing is, we're really influencing our children while we're going along this journey. And so they're kind of starting this generation where not eating meat and understanding where their food comes from is really normal for them. And that's what I'm super pumped about.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, you don't, and I think when you talked about them saying that they were vegan first and being kind of proud of it, and you look at them and say, like, they don't care what other people think, and at such a young age. I mean, it's not until later on do you start to begin and start to really care what other people think and think people are judging you. But and they were actually proud to use the word, and brought it back into like our household. And when we started to really look at it as the word vegan, it means, a lot of people don't really understand what it means, and I think a lot of people have different definitions for like what it means to them. And I think there really is one clear definition of being vegan, and people just associate the word vegan with diets, but it comes down to being a lifestyle, and ultimately bringing it back to, you're doing it for the animals. And it's really not a diet, so to speak. But we understand of why people kind of get that confused. And we'll, as we talk and you start to listen to more about how we transitioned personally, our family, and where we started from, we were kind of on the journey of plant-based first for health, then figuring out, oh my gosh, like what's going on with the animals, and then turning it into be like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like we're absolutely vegan. But we started on the plant-based journey.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that you can do to give yourself some grace and justice on this journey is to know that everyone's journey looks completely different. Everyone's why they want to do this looks totally different. And at the same time, it's about progress over perfection. And the times that we get tied into like feeling like we're excluding too many things at once is probably not the right way for you at that moment in time. And Pete and I, we didn't cut everything out. Like, we didn't go cold turkey. There were some things that where we did, where we're like, okay, this is the last day. But pretty much everything was a weaning process. So, we had already weaned ourselves off of dairy, milk. We weren't really doing that for a while. And then we started to wean ourselves off of meat, and that included pork or pig. I'm going to just call it out for what it is. That included cow, that included pig, and then I think chicken came after that. On the end of the list was eggs, and then fish was the very last thing, at least for me. And then we started to go into an even deeper dive where we started to even look at every single we're still growing and we're still learning, but we started to look into deeper things of like, okay, gelatin is made out of animal bones. And we looked at even what some of our sugars have, and that's made out of animal bones as well. And so you kind of start to go into a deeper look into your products, because like I said, it's not like cutting everything all out at once, but it's like with knowledge gains power. And when you have power, you can make better decisions. And that's really what we've done. And we're just getting better and feeling, and getting more knowledgeable as we go on along our journey. And, and that's why I feel great. Like, and I'm at a point where we just recently, we talk about honey, and what we think about honey, and we talk about different products, like, some, going maybe in a deeper dive of like, I guess we haven't really talked about it, but palm oil, excuse me. And I'm starting to feel different ways about that because it's really hurt our rainforest and things like that. So, but it's, like I said, I mean, you don't got to go crazy right off the bat and think you're going to go hit a home run when you haven't really built up the stamina to get there. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, there's really no wrong way to do this. And I think the more that you just kind of jump in and figure it out, and by asking questions, and it comes down to one meal at a time, and one documentary at a time, one piece of information at a time, one piece of content at a time. And, because this is overwhelming to realize that you've kind of had it all backwards and really like not known about this. Like it's been going on, but we just haven't been, nobody has been made aware of it. You don't hear about it in schools. You don't really talk about, no one talks about the practices of the industries of what's going on. And it's like, well, why not? And because it's graphic. I mean, even when you talk to, I try to talk to some people close to us, They just kind of want to push it aside and say that it's too, it's extreme. I don't want to talk about it. Like, and just society has just, and our families and everyone around us has done such a good job of just not talking about it. Like, no one questions it. No one even remotely bats an eye, and it's become normal. And being on this side of it and seeing, like, oh my gosh, like, we really are the 1%. If you go out, like 99 other people that you meet all, I eat meat like it's normal and eat animals like it's normal. It's just so interesting to be so new at this, and to have seen it from both sides, and to watch our children grow up in this type of environment. Super cool, and I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I mean, there's a reason why these animals are hidden from us. It's only been footage that's been released by vegan activists. So why we really start to know what's going on at these farms and what's really going on in these slaughterhouses. And once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it. But here's the thing: don't be afraid to see the information. It's like turning a blind eye is never the answer. And I'm telling you, like, it's not easy to come to see. It's not easy. But if you don't want to see it, then you really have to question yourself why. And I think that's where we started to dabble into, like, why are we uncomfortable watching this footage? Why are we uncomfortable hearing this information? And really because we don't want to. We've lived this life for so long, and we want to stay comfortable, and we have our favorite foods, and we don't want to break that uncomfortableness, I guess, what it comes down to. But it's really important to allow yourself to see that what's going on in the industry, and how it's having an impact not just on our health, but it's having an impact on the environment as well.
Yeah, I mean, it also it comes down to to seeing things for what it actually is. And and someone just shared the post, which was interesting. But I mean, if you start seeing your food for what it actually is, you'll wonder why you didn't stop or start to do this earlier. You'll wonder why you didn't stop eating animals earlier, because it's like, oh my gosh, like, you're contributing to this. And just recently came out with another post about saying that if you buy or purchase meat or eat meat in any way, shape, or form, you're like, actually, casually, ever so, like, you're contributing to the meat industry and this atrocious thing that's going on. And so you can a lot of people try to justify it, and to say that they've only they only do homegrown, or home pasture raised, and they know where it comes from. But at the end of the day, I think if you participate in and contribute to eating meat, or purchasing it, like, you're contributing to it. And then that's another reason why is easy for us to go vegan, is because it's easy to answer that question. I'm not conflicted. And we'll dive a little bit more deep into this, but cognitive dissonance is kind of the confliction of, like, yeah, we kind of understand that it's wrong to eat animals, but yeah, we kill and contribute to eating animals. And it's this balance. And we tried to, and recently people, this dude from Morristown you can tell he's trying to be funny about it. And that's one of the ways to kind of deal with our dissonance, is to with humor, to know it's just absolutely wrong.
Yeah, and sorry, I don't want to go into cognitive dissonance, but I think the biggest thing is that getting to know us and getting to feel like that you're engaged with people in a network that think differently, that are going to challenge you, that are going to open your eyes, that are going to share information. And it may not be the information that you want to receive, but just please know that it comes from a good place. We are not in a position to put anybody down for their lifestyles. We also don't think that we're better than anybody else. We're just calling it out for what it is. And I know that when I started to go down this path, my fists were up. I was getting mad and combative and wanting to like challenge everything. And we would fight about it all the time. And because it is such a sensitive subject when you're talking about how you were raised and you're talking about what you consume and you're talking about what's moral and what's not moral and all of these things. It starts to really get at you in a place
Well,
that I didn't even know it would get at me at. And I was like, dang, like I'm getting all defensive and all worked up and I'm about to go crazy with this man.
But there's a reason why people get so worked up, and it's because you just can't answer the question. Like, so if we ask, right, like, is it wrong to kill an animal for food?
Well, and I do, yes. And I just want to get at the point is that this is a place for you to start hearing different perspective. That's all. Like, this is somebody in your network sharing something that you may not be completely off your radar, not aware of whatsoever. And P and I didn't have somebody like this in our network.
No.
And we would be like,
that's another good point.
Yeah.
I did not know one vegan until like over 30 years, and no one talked about it. It just wasn't mentioned.
And we didn't, like I said, we were athletes and we thought we don't hang out with vegans, right?
No, I mean, I didn't know.
We didn't know anyone, really.
Like, if it ever came up. Like, I knew what a vegan was. I just never came across one.
I don't even know if we totally even understood what a vegan was, but we'll get into that later on. And,
or what I think of one. I mean, but like, usually if you say, how do you know if you come across a vegan, and they'll tell you. That's one of the jokes, like, haha. But I mean, it makes sense. If you understand why people go vegan in the first place, it just makes sense for why we're sharing it. It's just because we never had anybody in our network and to like raise the awareness or come across a video. And so now with these platforms, if our video, if you can come across us and be like, wow, I kind of like them, and just kind of hear where they're coming from and be like, oh my gosh, it's possible, it's doable. I mean, like, we're just another story. And that's really what we want. We want to kind of just make you start to question what we're currently doing, what you've been brought up with, because we, our age, I mean, our kids and anybody who has kids are, under 10, under 15. I mean, we've all grown up this way. I mean, we've all grown up, eating meat, eating, the standard American diet like it's normal. And we've just happened to start to question it and just start to unpeel the layers like an onion, and just start watching a little documentary here and just start talking about it and just start questioning things, just start paying attention. And the next thing you know, oh man, we're putting out videos.
And, like, just a quick, like, I'm not going to dive too much in it, but Pete and I, like, we've been in the fitness world and we owned our own fitness facility for 5 years. We were training and coaching athletes. And one of the number one things that people struggle with is their nutrition all the time. Like, we saw it constantly on a daily basis. And it's like so mother effing confusing. It's like, what works? Like, is it the keto diet or is it the paleo diet? Is it intermittent fasting that I do, or is it do I focus on calorie input? Like, it was constant and people just didn't know, and there was so much conflicting information out there that really started to launch us into going into a deeper dive into better serve our athletes, and really start to help people, and where we started to see the need was, and we saw a need in nutrition more than we saw a need in fitness, as far as overall health and well-being and what people really are struggling out there with. And the cool thing is, not only is this lifestyle better for the animals, because what is happening to them is absolutely horrible and it's wrong, but the output of all of that is when you don't eat animals, guess what? It's better for your health and it's better for the environment. And I always say those are outputs of what you put into your body.
Yeah, I mean, and we just saw a lot of people just not being able to figure it out, and and they just go on this like this starving mode, and I'm gonna work out, and they get in this, and it's just dieting. It just did not work, and so one of the things that I think are one of our core beliefs is sustainability. It has to be sustainable in order for it to for you to continue to do it, and you have to look long term. And going through these ups and downs, and these highs and lows of like gaining weight and lower weight, and gaining weight and lower weight, and figuring out, and like it was back and forth, just like a yo-yo. And one of the things that we figured out was if we make it sustainable, meaning you just have to know what goes into your body, and that's one thing that we have just tons of great recipes that you can just kind of put together, and I mean follow what we put out. We eat this, our family eats this. It's so delicious. You're not going to miss anything. It's just an incredible way that it makes it fun to kind of figure out.
And the food is bomb. It is so good. I love eating. I mean, I don't know that many people that don't like to eat, but I love to eat, and it has been a journey learning how to cook up some magic in the kitchen, but I have pretty much figured this shit out, and it really feels that our food is nourishing our body, it's replenishing our body and refueling our body, and that I can really like. You guys, we've been plant-based for over 3 years. I feel amazing. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean,
our kids are eating plant-based. They're doing bomb. They look great. Like, they don't look malnourished. Nothing crazy. We are clear walking proof that you can thrive in putting everyone's bullshit lies to bed, that you can't do well on a plant-based diet, and that you need animal protein.
And it's nothing crazy. I mean, like you're not losing muscle. Like it's not like you're gonna like. It's mind-boggling what people think about when you give up eating animals. It's like, well, how do you get your protein? It's the same way that the animals get their protein from. We just go straight to the source. It's fun when you figure it out, and you start questioning things, and it just becomes you just have to find the people, just kind of link up with the people that are kind of spreading that type of message, and you're gonna at one you just figure it out.
Stay connected. That's the thing. Like, it's hard when you just hit the nail on the head with that for me. Stay connected. Even if we're the only people that that are vegan, stay connected to us, because the rest of the world is telling you what you already know. They're already doing exactly what you're doing, and so it's really helpful when you have somebody that's challenging you the way that you think. I'm telling you, it makes you feel that you're not alone. It gives you some type of outlet to ask somebody questions, or to just like to let people know what you're feeling or what you're going through, or that you just don't feel alone. Because if you don't stay connected, it's easy to fall off the bandwagon and just stay stagnant of where you're currently already at.
Yeah, you gotta keep moving, and you just never get stagnant. And I think that's one thing that's helped us, and we'll owe it to each other, and we really try to hold each other accountable on even this. Even starting this, it took us a long time to kind of jump back in here, but now I feel like even my anxiety was up just kind of starting this back up. Yeah, I mean, just the lights and figuring
it just
out
was
and
hard.
where we go.
I guess lazy, but it's not lazy. We were it's like riding a freaking bike, or it's like doing anything for the first time. It's hard. It's like, where do you start? Ooh. It's uncomfortable. It's like, dude, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow, do it the next day. But enough talking, more doing. Is what I always say.
Yeah, and I think if this can help, and I know it will. Like, someone's gonna come across these videos that we put together, like whether it's this one or another one, or whether it's like mashup from this episode to other episodes, and to just continue to mix it up. And so as far as like what we want to be talking about, I think, uh, Abe, let's talk about what we are going to be talking about through this podcast. What can you expect in these podcasts or in these episodes?
I think the biggest thing that you're gonna and maybe not expect, but what we're gonna deliver is just real time things, like how we go on a daily basis, how we've incorporated this with our kids, how different topics that are happening within our social networks and different posts and different conversations that are being generated from that, tackling different, I guess you could say, objections to this, and going one by one on every single objection, because I think those are very important to hear perspective, and to just kind of hear and really get to know us, because when you're just reading, it's easy to take things out of context and not understand the intention. And when you're able to see us and hear us, and kind of like have us explain this, I think it will really shed better light and bring you more value, and most importantly bring the animals more value. So I think that's why we're putting ourselves out there as well. And honestly, what's going to drive these different conversations and different topics is going to be you guys, and you guys are going to be the drivers for it, and we're going to be the ones that are going to do our damnest to deliver good information that you're going to find that benefits you and makes you a better person.
Yeah, and if you have questions or want us to answer some things, feel free to share it below, make a comment, send us an email, message, however you choose to. But yeah, we want to make this fun. I know we're gonna, obviously if you've been following us, we're gonna still give away recipes, but we want to make this more where our long form content comes from. So where we kind of jam maybe long form, and then little segments come out from this. But yeah, objections are a good one. I know responses to Facebook, Instagram comments or posts, further kind of depth on why we posted certain things. What kind of responses that we got. Because it's all learning. For example, I just love when people respond. And you can kind of see where they're coming from, and exactly. What's happening with them, and we'll talk more about those sort of things as well, which I think will provide a lot of value.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that we also are going to hit on each individual animal as a whole, and give you some insight of what's happening in the industry as far as dairy, cows, beef, the cattle, the chickens, and the pigs. We're really going to hit on farm animals specifically, maybe dive into a little bit of different things like lambs and things like that, but give you perspective on the animal, give you perspective of why it's better for the environment, and give you some other recipes out there that are going to mimic that taste and really satisfy what you've always known and what you've always loved, and hopefully get you wanting to try different recipes that are out there and different products that are out there as well.
Love it.
Awesome.
How you think we did?
We could do better. I guess if we had some more like more, because I do think that we could have made this shorter. Like it's 33 minutes.
Well, we just the first one got.
And talking about cognitive dissonance, maybe I mean but I mean you knew it, but I guess. I'm like, I think it needs to, we have some fun, but I guess that's, we're going to kind of get more comfortable as we go along. And I think the biggest thing is, I think, do we really answer the question of why we went vegan? I don't know if we really even answered that question.
All right, I'm going to finish this. Hold on.